one of the things that I like to tell my clients is that enzymes make your healthy food healthier, because it allows you to break it down and absorb it. So
most definitely. But you could be eating a Happy Meal and breaking down a lot of that junk in there. So it starts with real food. You gotta eat real food. I like to educate my patients in that food is not just to take away your hunger pains. Food it carries information. That information crosstalks with your DNA. So depending on the information you're giving your DNA, that is going to drive how your body responds, because we all have bad genes that we were passed down from our ancestors, hyperlipidemia, diabetes, high blood pressure, autoimmune disease, even cancer. We have genes for all that. And we have good genes that help you thrive, that give you good physiology, give you good muscular build. So the information you're putting in your mouth, we'll take a fruit, a vegetable, okay, versus candy. Okay, that fruit and vegetable is going to have good information. That information comes by way of fiber. It comes by way of vitamins and minerals. It comes by way of good information that's being fed to your DNA, and your DNA is going to turn on the good genes and help you thrive. Now, on the opposite side, let's have some candy. Chemicals, synthetic materials, highly processed ingredients, artificial colors, artificial flavors. That information comes in and tells your DNA to turn on the bad genes. Come diabetes, come over autoimmune disease, come over arthritis, come over and then your body takes that bad turn into disease. So food is information. And depending on the information you give your body, that's how your body's going to react.
Right. So for our listeners, because you just list a lot of things that I'm sure the listeners are like, yeah, you know what? I'm screwed. I have the gene for diabetes, and I have the gene for obesity, and I have the gene for, addiction. The list goes on and on. So just to clear it up for our listeners, the food that we eat, can it slow down or turn off those genes? I mean, if I'm born with it, I'm screwed, right? I'm gonna have diabetes anyway, right? I mean, I know that's not true. I'm just wanting to create a conversation so that our listeners understand that food that you said provides information. So that food has the way you said it can turn up a good gene, it can also provide information to quiet that, what we would call undesirable gene, whether it's the gene for diabetes or obesity or anything like that. Can we talk about that a little bit, just so our listeners don't get off here and go, oh man, I'm screwed. Have you seen my family line? Like I'm screwed. Like woo, So let's talk about that so that we can give some hope to our listeners that are like, damn, this is,
that's a great point you point out. So your genes are set in stone. Okay, you get your genes from conception, and those genes are there. Those genes don't change. Your DNA doesn't change. They're there. But there is something else called epigenetics, and epigenetics is how lifestyle and your environment affect the genes that you bring from your mom and your dad. Okay, so epigenetic, your lifestyle, your environment can dictate which genes get turned on and which genes get silenced. So for those that are saying, oh, well, I'm screwed. Look at my family line. We all have diabetes. You're not screwed. If you pick healthy lifestyle, if your environment is of optimal nutritional value, if spirituality comes into play as well. We are three spheres. We're mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
Okay. So if you're a person that gives love, that is happy, that relieves stress. If you're a chill person that enjoys life, enjoys everyone around you, that has good, strong bonds with your loved ones. If you're a person that doesn't smoke, doesn't drink excessively, goes to bed early, if you're a person that takes care of yourself, okay, and you're a person that eats as natural as possible, then you're a person that's going to tell your family history of bad stuff. You're that person that's going to say it stops here, because of my lifestyle, because of my environment that I've created. I am going to silence that bad gene, and I'm going to turn on the good genes, the good genes that are going to increase your metabolism, the good genes that is going to give you good cardiovascular health, the good genes that is going to give you good lungs, a good kidney, a good gastrointestinal lining. And you're going to be that person that gets away from those bad genes that were given to you by your family tree. So yes, that's a very important point. Your environment, the way you live, pray, love, laugh, eat healthy, stay away from, ultra processed foods, highly processed foods, stay away from junk, stay away from alcoholism, recreational drugs, smoking, et cetera, et cetera. You can beat those odds and lead a healthy life.
I know it's daunting for people. I have a couple of clients that have cancer, specifically the C word scares everybody in their family line. So that's a really wonderful, positive thing, even empowering thing to tell somebody, is that even though you might have this particular gene, you don't have to turn it on. It doesn't have to be expressed. And I think that's a very hopeful message that doesn't get out there enough.
Most definitely. And the beautiful things about enzymes is that they also have anti-cancerous properties.
Really?
Oncolytic properties. Yes, ma'am. They have oncolytic properties. They have anti-tumorigenic properties. They've even been researched and studied, and they have demonstrated in the scientific literature that they also possess ability to turn on signals that tell the cell to die, and turn off signals that tells the cells not to die, because cancer has its own mechanism of survival. And all cancers have what we call hallmarks of cancer. They are invasive, they migrate, they metastasize, they create their own blood supply. They're able to tell your genes to turn off apoptotic factors. Apoptosis is programmed cell death. Every cell in our body is programmed to die because we regenerate that way. We can't have a cell be alive all your life, because it becomes old, it becomes stagnant, and it doesn't thrive. So cells are constantly regenerating. Well, cancer has figured out a way to tell your genes, hey, turn off that cell death signal so that I can keep multiplying and can keep spreading. Well, proteolytic enzymes have been shown in the literature to be able to tell the cell, hey, turn on your cell death signal so that cancer can stop proliferating, stop multiplying. So these proteolytic enzymes, they go deep. They go very, very deep. And that's where I'm in the middle of research with Transformation Enzyme Corporation. I'm a director of research and development. And I've done several case studies on cancer and proteolytic enzymes and the effect it has on these cancers. I did a very successful one on prostate cancer, whereby we were able to, there was a baseline MRI that showed a 71-year-old male with confirmed via biopsy prostate adenocarcinoma, Gleason score 4 and 4, which is 8. That means it's an aggressive adenocarcinoma, and it had started spreading into the lymph nodes, and the lymph nodes were very stagnant and very big. After 6 months of mega doses of proteolytic enzymes, we were able to dissolve that tumor on the prostate, and the lymphadenopathy completely went away. Also, there is a blood marker called prostate-specific antigen, the PSA, which males after 40 years old should get checked. That PSA should be below 4. This gentleman's PSA was 336.
Oh my.
It was very, very high. Well, after our 6 months of proteolytic, hot mega dose proteolytic enzymes, we're able to bring that PSA to 0.4.
Wow.
So PSA went down to below, to normal levels. The tumor was completely dissolved in the prostate, and the lymphadenopathy was also completely dissolved. And to this day, this was about a year ago. To this day, the gentleman still texts me, telling me, just about a month ago, he texted me saying that his latest PET scan showed him completely clean after a year of our proteolytic enzyme intervention. So even in cancer, these proteolytic enzymes have great benefit.
That's an incredible story.
Was that patient on chemo or radiation? Or was it all done?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Was the patient on chemo or radiation during the proteolytic
No, ma'am, he was
treatment?
not. All they did was
amazing.
They gave him androgen blockers, which is the first thing they do whenever there's prostate cancer. They block testosterone, so that way it doesn't convert to dihydrotestosterone, which is what makes the prostate inflamed. So they block testosterone, and that's the only treatment he had gotten. He hadn't gotten surgery, he hadn't gotten chemo, he hadn't gotten radiation. So all we did was give him mega doses of proteolytic enzymes. The oncologist saw a follow-up MRI showing no prostate cancer, a PET scan showing no spreading. The lymph nodes were back to normal. The PSA was back to normal. So no more intervention other than the testosterone blockers.